when I started the live stream, I had listed out the segments we were doing. And ironically, the next segment was on WSU Mom Kim. And it looks like WSU Mom Kim is here with us.
Oh, nice. Is she going to come on?
Listen, if you want to come on, we just have so much questions about the fact, a couple things you said. The first one being about the children still being in danger. I didn't know if you meant that just in the present tense or if you meant that in general, that they still might be in danger. Okay, there you go, Kim. And it's up to you, no pressure. You can comment, takes my breath away, Kim. I would love, I know you probably are very limited in what you can say, but we can infer a lot of things from that comment. And I know we all are working with the same amount of information, but you come from a place where you can hear what people are saying around you. You can hear the rumors, you can hear the word on the street. And even though it might not be, based in some sort of tangible evidence, sometimes the word on the street is more reliable than anything else, certainly anything in mainstream media. So we are very interested in anything you have to say. Here we go. It's a small town and most children of big families attend UII. That's interesting. All right, here's Jeff.
I was looking at the most recent comments and I just scrolled up just a little bit to it. So.
All right. So Kim, if you can hear, give it one more shot and then
maybe, sometimes things when they just don't work like they should, you restart your computer and then everything can sometimes just goes right back.
Or log out and log back in sometimes to like StreamYard even, or YouTube.
So this is another really fascinating, and I think all of our subscribers should pay attention to what WSU Mom Kim is saying right now. Pavarotti is interesting. What he's been saying is so close to the info that I was given early on, with the exception of Ethan.
I think I've seen his stuff.
Oh, sorry.
Kim, thank you so much for coming on.
It really isn't. It's fine. I don't care. Nobody has to believe me. I know that I'm not lying and want to be wrong with a lot of the things I've known. And I've said it for, I feel like, the right reasons. Now, I should have done it differently, obviously. But I didn't. And that's just where we are. Right? That's just where, you learn, unfortunately, But at the end of the day, I think we all have the same goal.
But it would be worse though if you took what you know and just kept it to yourself. I mean, I think it's, and that's true with everybody. I mean, that's why I think it's, just because we want to hear everything so that we can process everything and figure out what's the most plausible, what's possible.
And right, and it was alarming to discover that time delay. Not that my daughter didn't tell me. I totally get it. I would have packed them up so lickety split they would have been home that day. Because we were there, it was Parents' Weekend. Right? We had been told, and that's likely why they didn't tell us, any of the parents at either school until later. Well, like right before they put out the shelter in place, and then like within 10 minutes it was gone, and it was, you're free to go, everybody's safe. I'm like, did they catch it? And they didn't even they hadn't even caught him. They couldn't tell us who, why, what, where. They could only tell us nothing, and then. But they were safe. It was targeted, or the house was targeted, which now it's, I don't think it's just targeted. I think it's probably just Greek Row on both campuses, which are the targets, because I think that's where these people are kind of infiltrating these bubbles that we've created for our kids, and drugs are rampant. And I didn't know that with my daughter because, she's in a sorority and she doesn't that wasn't her thing. I mean, honestly, maybe, I don't know, but she certainly drank enough. But my son, he got into a frat and he dropped within a week. He dropped the house, which is unheard of. They offered him drugs like the first day. And so I called the police department and they said, oh yeah, we have a heroin problem too. And I'm like, and what are you doing? I mean, they probably know me by name, my voice at this point, because all I did was like, what are you going to do about it? Every time you turn around, there's something there. There was just, we arrested for sexual assault against a sorority girl, fraternity guy. He's been arrested.
That was on U of I campus?
WSU. But they're like 5 minutes from each other. I mean, it's 15 minutes on the map, but it's really, Now, Wazoo, at least my daughter and her friends did not cross over when they turned 21 to go to the Corner Club or any of the bars there because they knew about danger. They've had a lot of trafficking. They call it programming when they have to take classes. Every house has to take classes for education, social awareness, and all the new rules and things. So they knew about trafficking. They know about. I was really shocked at all the knowledge they'd given her, and glad that they had. But now Wazoo is a dry Greek girl, completely 100% dry, because of this last incident.
Now, can I ask you a question on that same subject?
Mhm.
There's a bar at Wasu called the Cougar Cottage. Are you familiar with it?
The Coug, yeah.
The Coug.
Yes.
Okay. Did your children ever frequent there?
Oh, we all did.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's a fun bar. It's a really fun bar. Everybody goes there. It's packed, and everybody goes there, and to V Hall, which is another bar which has a DJ and stuff there. But there's nothing really to do but go to the bars or Greek Row. And if you're not Greek, you can't go on Greek. But when they turn 21, they all go to the Coug. And then you write your name on the wall. In fact, there's a picture of Xana and Jasmine with their dad from Parents Weekend. Would have been Jasmine and Peyton's junior year, maybe.
I was wondering that because I wasn't sure because it was a bar if they allowed underage kids there because I'd heard Xana might visit her sister at Wasu and go to the Coug occasionally.
Well, I saw a picture of her in front of it, but no. Is it a bar during the day? I mean, I can't. Well, it must be a restaurant during the day because our son wasn't 21 and we went in and had lunch on the patio. But then I think it turns to a bar in the evening and you can't get in, and they ID everybody, including me, and I'm 58. Yeah, so everybody has to have their ID.
I don't know, Kim. I don't know if you know the answer to this question, but have you heard any rumblings on the street about this naked man theory about somebody that ran by Bethany's window?
I thought I had heard it, but I've never heard it anywhere but maybe just out there. Nobody's ever said, well, no, I've never heard a naked man. I did hear that Bethany and Dylan had both seen the people who were there, and they thought it was a party and locked themselves in the downstairs bedroom. And
that was the initial reports.
Yeah, that's what was initially in the Snapchat group Snapchats that were sent, which is how my daughter found out at 10.
Did the police ever collect your daughter's phone?
No, they didn't collect the phone, and they could have. I offered them our cloud and our passwords, and they could take any of it for any social media.
They didn't take any of it? Is that what you just said?
I don't know if they did because I only give them. So when I called in, obviously I don't get information back, but when they assigned us an ISP officer who would call and ask me questions, or if I found something out, I would call him and tell him, and he offered. So you get to know them, and then you're talking, and one thing leads to another, and they say things in conversation. They're people, and so he would confirm that when I discovered there might be an alibi that wasn't right, and I was having a hard time figuring it out, I just thought, well, I'm just going to tell them what I know. And he said, we were figuring there was an alibi. That's not correct. They knew that already. So it just corroborated it. And it was just about, and I honestly have I believe that Jack D didn't have anything to do with it. He might have known that there was going to be kind of a shakedown, but I don't think any of these kids knew what was going to come of this whole thing. I don't. I think they just got in over their heads and something went sideways. And I actually don't even think, I don't even know. Well, I actually shouldn't. When I stop and I think, because I want to stop and think before I speak, because I can ramble, right? That's why Daniel keeps me in my lanes, so you can feel free to keep me in my lanes. Mm-hmm. But I'm not so sure that Ethan's death was by the same for the same reason. Just it wasn't just because he was there. I think that other things went down with the fraternity. That's my opinion. Allegedly, from things I've heard, and I did hear from Sigma Chi. They did tell me that when I spoke with the boys through another creator, that there was a fight, and hazing's really bad. It's really bad, especially for fraternities, and it's not legal for a reason. So I don't know, but all of these fraternities are, well, I know for a fact that one of the houses at WSU was dealing, and where they were getting the product from. And they're not in jail anymore. So I don't, and Caden Young is gone. And why? Like, and why are they out of jail if they believe that
That's going back to what Pavarotti's been saying, correct?
I don't know who he is. And I said to him, I have no idea who you are. You're either a bad guy or you're a marshal, a U.S. Marshal, because I don't know why you have all of this information, because this is the information that we had in the very beginning, that was given to us in the very beginning, or that was given to myself through these kids in the beginning, and then through phone calls and stuff. I mean, people come out of the woodwork and tell me things, and I just reported it. And even if they didn't want me to, but that Dot, now I don't know about anything other than the fact that she had information she shouldn't have had. Now, was she speaking for somebody else? Was she a guy speaking for somebody? I don't know. But, she was in distress. And when she called me, and I said, are you safe? Do you have a place to sleep? And do you have food? Because I would have sent her a Venmo and she didn't want any of that. I said, can I call the FBI? And she said, will you please? And I said, yes. So I did. So she gave me nothing. So I'm not going to judge her. I don't know what she knows, or if she's speaking for somebody else, or which could be. I don't know.
Did Dot come through you? Were you the initial contact with Dot?
No, I wasn't. Dot.
Was
Dot
it Brad Nortonson?
Yeah, it was Brad. And I got to tell you something about Brad too. Brad's she's a good kid. She's a good girl. She really is a good girl. And I think her intentions were always in the right place. They always are in the right place. And I've never caught her lying. And I've had her checked out. My cousins think they're funny. They keep changing my name and they do this cyber stuff. So I have had her checked out. I don't have any reason that I'm not going to believe anybody in anything until we know we don't know.
Are you familiar with Dave, who made the phone call in?
Yes, I've never spoken with Dave. I know who Dave is. I don't know okay, let me take this back. I don't know his real name. And I told Daniel that we were talking one day, and I said, well, who is he? And I said, wait a minute, don't tell me his name, because I'll screw it up and I'll slip. I'll give it up. And so we kind of laughed, because I will. But I was able to deduce who he is, actually. And because Sigma Chi was looking for him to shut him up. And they went and they found the wrong person to shut up. And they admitted that on What's the Obsession. So why does Sigma Chi want to shut Dave up? What is he saying? He's not in their fraternity. He's in a different fraternity.
I have not heard that. That's on What's the... I'm going to go catch up on all that. I didn't know that, because I've always believed Dave. And I asked you if you knew him, because I didn't know if you heard him say the reason he actually called in was because of you.
I did hear that. And actually Olivia asked me to do the Paramount thing. I didn't want to do the Paramount thing. I vacillated all the way to the point of being a half hour late and then having them make me look like my 81-year-old mother. And because I didn't have any makeup on, and I'm like, oh my God, really? And honestly, it was vanity that brought my face out onto Daniel's show and that picture. Because I'm like, dude, but it was a stressful, I didn't realize the stress that it had taken on my body. And after we did that I put the kids on a plane and we went to the Hamptons, and spent the summer there. So I was more rested when you saw the last picture. But I'm nothing. It's not vain. But so now I forgot the question. Oh, what was the question?
He backs up what you're saying about
Yeah.
drug use, and that's the only other legitimate place I've ever heard this affiliation before. So
Right, and that's what the hope was with Olivia, and was that more people will come out if you talk more publicly, because people have to come out of the woodwork, and then a few more things did come out. People did call after that, and I turned it over, and I can't say what that is. It's not. I mean, I will say that this Pavarotti, whoever he is pretty right on about a lot of things. Not everything. I can't vet him, but I've heard probably 90% of the things he said. A couple of things I think I've heard different things about, like, well, I don't even want to say that these had anything to do with this happening to these girls. I don't even want to go there.
okay.
You know what, in my brain, in my heart, right? How absolutely tragic if indeed this was some kind of retaliatory thing for turning, like he's saying. And I'm not even, I mean, anytime anybody said that to me, I just don't want to hear it. There's some things I've learned you can't hear. It's too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's too much. And my Jasmine, Xana's sister, they know each other distantly. They're different sorority houses, but they graduated in the same class together. So, but she was blurred on the TV, and I didn't go to my daughter's graduation for safety reasons. So I was able to watch it from home because we could stream it in, but I didn't go to her graduation. It was safer not to. And when I was in Moscow doing Paramount, and first of all, I want everybody to know, I did not get paid to do it. I don't want any money off of this. Any money that I would have made or they would have given me, I would go straight to any foundation for these kids. I don't want anything. I just want these kids to be safe and justice for these families. And I want the world to be a better place. And us to start talking to our kids more. We have to educate our kids more. Stranger danger still happens.
Mm-hmm.
So they paid for my airfare. They wanted me to fly over, which was better. And then my hotel, in a secure hotel. And I had an armed guard when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Do you think will you be appearing on that series again when they come out with the new?
Well, do they say they're having a new one?
I heard that in Discord. It might have been incorrect information. It was just knowledge.
They told me it was going to be 5 episodes, and I haven't even. Well, I got I caught a glimpse of myself on one of the reels. I'm like, I don't listen to myself typically. I hate my voice on the radio.
I know. I think everyone does. I do too.
I just hate it all of it, and so I cringe. And I know but. So the only time, I really don't listen to myself, and I trust the people I speak with. It's the people who take it and twist it around and turn it all around that I want to straighten out, but I can't fix them. You can go anywhere. Anybody can call anybody, and that I've been on their panel or their show and spoken to. I mean, even Lana I've spoken to, and Lana will put you through the ringer, and she is very thorough, and she is very black and white, and that's a really great thing to be, because that's balance right out there. I mean, she's not afraid to say anything. Now, I wouldn't always say some of the things she says, but she wouldn't always say some of the things I say, but I respect her very much. I do.
Well, the one thing that's most impressive to me about you, Kim, is, you keep saying you've suffered this grief from going on, trying to talk to people about things and having your words, you feel like your words have been twisted, but you still want to come out and you have the courage to say, no, I'm trying to bring attention. I'm just telling you what I know. And on that same note, is there one particular thing that you would, like us as creators, us who are investigating this, you think that maybe we should lean our internet investigating towards, or just things that we should keep looking at that you could suggest to us?
The fraternities and the sororities.
Okay.
I think that these kids go to college and they come from homes that they don't know. At least my children. I guess I can't speak for everybody else. My kids came from a bubble home, didn't have to worry about anything really except for their grades. That was their job and their sports. And then the promise was college, right? And they get their whole education. We pay for their education, and then shoe fly shoe, soar go be. And all of them to date have done that. I have 7. And so I
Good
have
for
my
you.
last I have my last
And
one.
I'm like, hello.
I know. And then, but these kids, even if they did make a mistake, it could have been any kid making a mistake, because they don't see. So I'm going to use his name because I used his name on Paramount, and I really want him to hear this. Stay out of Pullman, stay out of Moscow. They let you out of jail. Don't ever show your ugly mug again anywhere. You are an old man and you need to stay off campus. You deliver back to her parents right now, if you have her, and you never go near these kids again. You're a dog, and dogs belong in a kennel. So don't go back. He knows what he does. He's not a promoter. Well, he is a promoter, but his mom, what she had to say about him is not incorrect. All the girls know that. The boys know that. He is put them at great risk, and he thinks he's charming. He thinks he's handsome with his one purple suit. Who is he? Honestly, I'd love to. And he grew up and I'm not sure if his uncle or his dad is related to the basketball player, but I don't know why he keeps getting out of jail, because he's got a rap sheet a mile long.
Well, I'm gonna have to. I think if I'm gonna turn to a creator, maybe I'll go to Jay Embry with some of these questions. And I appreciate you speaking up and making a statement like that on my channel.
Is that okay? I hope that's okay. I just
yeah.
think that parents need to have boys are at as much risk as girls now. They really are, and they just have to. Parents have to sit them down. And all parents from both of these schools should be sitting their kids down and saying, what happened?
Amen.
And then they should tell the police. They all know. But you don't talk. Angry girl. It's ridiculous. I asked my daughter what they did for her initiation, and she looked at me like I had just asked her to say she didn't believe in God. The eyes on her were as big as like headlights, and she's like, oh, how could you ever ask? I'm like, well, I paid for it. I thought I should ask.
My gosh, it's so fascinating talking to you, Kim. Do you mind if I ask you another kind of question?
Ask me anything. Ask me anything. That's fine.
Do you happen to know who discovered Ethan?
I know what I've been told, and but I'm not sure I believe that. I think that we were all given the narrative that Hunter Johnson was the one who discovered him, because he was only able to open that door. Now, I'm sorry, but I could move a mountain if I thought my friends were in harm's way from all the noise you'd heard the night prior. And they'd have, so he was there first. So that makes sense that it was him. But do I actually know who did it? I don't know if Hunter Johnson actually at this point did or not. I do believe that, Demetrius and Emma were probably there.
We've heard that from Dot.
Yeah, how did she know that? She knew other things too that I had known and really won't say, can't say. And you don't want to hear it anyway, truly. But yeah, I mean, Dot knows a lot. So I don't know if Dot is speaking for somebody else, and because Dot's terrified and knows it has to get out there, you know, or played a part, or yeah, she had a lot of information that makes me not believe her.
But when I hear Dot, just like Dave, I know that she's added a few things, but the story I don't feel changed in all the segments I watched. But I've only listened to a handful of things.
Yes, none of her story had. I have never heard it change. And she got mad at me once, and I didn't realize it was her. And then I reached out to her and I said, I'm not saying you, Dot. I don't think you're lying. I don't have any judgment or any reason to believe you're lying at all. She's never done anything to make me think that. Riley Lively now, there's a plethora of things that make me not believe Riley. And
No,
Riley
I
Lively.
disagree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's not that I disagree with Riley Lively. I just don't understand how one person can be the gatekeeper of the information. And if you're
Right.
going to, and that's not like a criticism, but I've never heard anyone kind of push back on that but you. And I feel the same way.
And that's exactly my point is you're telling me I'm wrong, you're debunking me, but you're not giving me receipts like you're asking. And I don't even know what the word receipts mean. I mean, because Daniel has my cell phone bills, everything unredacted that I have. Nobody's ever going to get the Snapchats. In fact, we are going to motion to have those destroyed so they're never released, because that's not my information. That's another mother's child's information in that group Snap. I'm not giving out my daughter's Snapchats. I'm not giving out anybody's Snapchats. If they've managed to obtain them and pull them back, which I am under the impression that they have, to proving that time difference, then that's for the court to do. But I don't, those are not. And so Jules, who I respect Jules, but she wants these receipts and somebody else, and I'm not giving them to you. I'm just not. I'm not ever going to give them, and we will make a motion to have them destroyed.
Do you think does Brat think that Dot is been debunked?
I don't. I think she probably. I think she does. I think that Brat's taken a lot of heat, and as time goes by, and I know that she said to me has been true. Things that she told me a long time ago, just now are coming out. So I don't find her to be a liar. Time is a test in this, because there's so much of it that you start spinning your wheels and rethinking yourself and questioning yourself, and people question you. And then, time is not your friend in a case like this, because you do forget and think, and then you listen to other people. So I don't know if she believes Dot or not. I think I've heard her say she doesn't, but she may have information I don't have. As far as Dave goes, I believe Dave, and his whole that day, his Snapchats are gone, but everything else is still there. But he's been scrubbed. Who scrubbed it? And why? That's insane.
So his Snapchats, he had a setting to save his Snapchats, and they're gone now?
Well, I don't know. So I'm not technical at all. Literally, honestly, I'm just not. And unapologetically not technical. And he was, when he was on Paramount, that I'm not sure if that was the first time, I think that it was just gone, everything he had saved or whatever. And somebody said, well, why didn't he screenshot it? Well, because you don't realize, when the thing with Kohberger came out, they had named, so we got an alert because my son lived on the south side of campus when that whole SWAT thing went down. So, and it started apparently 8:00 the night prior, and so 3:30 the following morning, we get this alert or whatever, and so then immediately I'm awake, and then it's called off, and so I call the school, nothing to see here, not connected to anything. And I said, you know, that makes it worse that they're not connected, right? Just so you know, it makes it worse because now we have a whole new crime. And you have a 38-year-old man living with 20-year-old kids. That's weird. Why are you doing that? That's whatever. And so they, so when I, how do I put it? Ask me another question about Kopaka, and
yeah, I have a question for you about Kopaka. I wrote down while you were talking. So this is, again, it's whatever you're comfortable saying, but what is the word on the street or the rumors on the street at WSU about Kopaka?
Nothing.
That's fascinating, actually.
It's insane. When they said to me, it has nothing to do with Idaho. And I said, why do you have a 38-year-old man with PTSD and living in Coug housing with two 20-year-olds? Why? Well, we can't tell you that, or I'm not even sure what they said. Lana was able to break down who all these people were and whether it was he even lived there, because none of his clothes were there when they went to when his brother went to get his stuff. And there's so many different things. Do I think he was involved? I've always kind of thought he was involved, but I don't. Because of the things he said out the window about knowing who, something about I didn't kill them or something about that. And then the letter that Kohberger's sister wrote stating that he met a friend and the reason his print could have been on the sheath was because they were doing cocaine and used the knife and he might have opened the knife. Oh, I know. So when the first article came out, it named somebody completely different, which Lana found him and interviewed him. But then and they said he worked at the school and he was in he worked at Moscow and in technology. And then that they didn't say anything about the PTSD that I'm aware of, but they just named the wrong guy completely. And then all of a sudden it became Kopaka. And this guy comes on and he said, I'm still telling people it's not me. It wasn't me. But the tech stuff was down in Moscow the night of the incident, the night of the crime. It was down, which could be because they were going into a midterm exams right before the holiday break. So they could have been scrubbing it because classes change. You have different class times and nothing's the same that week. I know at Wazoo, I'm assuming it's that way at U of I. But so, yeah, I mean, so what I guess my point is that they scrub things. Like I didn't think it would be gone the following day. I didn't think to screenshot it when it occurred that it would be gone the following day. You know, so when people say, well, why didn't you screenshot it, Dave, and save it? Well, first of all, if you screenshot a Snapchat, people can tell you've screenshotted it. I know this from my kids because they'll send a snap and it'll be something cute, like of one of my grandchildren. And I'm like, oh, screenshot that and send it to me. He goes, no, they'll know. I'm like, so what? Who cares? But apparently the kids do care. So they don't screenshot as a habit because on some of their social media platforms, it will say he screenshotted you and apparently you look like a weirdo then.
When you say systems down, though, are you talking about the internet, the telephone, the inner working, like the systems within the university? What systems were down that night?
My understanding was technology. I guess it would be Wi-Fi, and I could be getting it incorrectly, but I don't know if it was the Wi-Fi or if it was maybe whatever systems they use were down, because every once in a while the kids will go down like a couple times a semester for whatever, that they have to scrub it or something or do something to it. But that night, my understanding was that everything was down, like the computer systems were down. And so like the pings, and I know that's not the same computer system, but the kids came down. My kids happened to be home when he was arrested. It was midwinter break, and my son came down and he goes, "There's no way that that's correct, how they're saying it." And I don't understand that, but he's there. All the kids think that there's no way that's correct. The pings are correct at all with the cast stuff.
That's
They
interesting.
absolutely doubt it.
So
Every kid I've spoken to
Mhm.
about it.
We just want your sampling of, you said a couple things about Kopaka that I just want to go back to, just because I hadn't heard them before. And if they're just curious, if they're public knowledge, like something you read in a newspaper, or like just something you picked up being in the area. And the first one was that he yelled some things out the window. I hadn't heard that before. Is that word on the street, or is that just something you picked up from news?
That I picked up. So I was a reporter there from, I'm not sure if it was Fox or News Nation. I didn't care. I called the first reporter I had, and I knew she was in Moscow, and I called her and I told her they're swatting somebody and I told them it was at the coffee house, and she went there, and I'm not sure if I don't remember where I heard that information. There was a lot said that, you really can't validate or vet or know it's true because it's gone. And that they then said that he had lit a fire, but there were no fire trucks. And there was just all of these things and I can't remember. I honestly don't remember who said it. I just remember that was kind of what was said in the very beginning. And I called the school directly. When I said one time I called the president, I didn't mean the president of the United States. But if I thought that would get this solved, I would. I'm not lying. I'd call him. I don't think he could fix it, honestly. But I did call the president of both schools. And I went to Utah too, because the secretary or somebody in the president's office told me to go to YouTube and say something every day.
Good. But I honestly, and I don't mean this, I just wanted to know, I think that your instincts and the way you probably should be an internet sleuth. Maybe when this is all over,
I don't think I have the heart for it.
You have a hidden career in front of you.
You know what I call it? It's just momming. I'm just being a mom. When,
Amen.
1 and 1 doesn't make 2, then I got to find out why we're getting 300. Where are the missing parts to this whole thing? There's something missing. And the time frame is a huge deal. It's a tremendous problem it's a tremendous problem, in my opinion. That 8-hour, 10-hour delay.
Is another thing you said that I'm curious to know if this is, again, word on the street or something you heard in the media about BK's sister writing the letter, making an excuse for why that DNA, that touch DNA could have been on that knife sheath about the cocaine. And was that a word on the street, or was that?
No, it was, I thought I believe it was on Reddit. And if it's still, I haven't even, I can check and see if it's still there, but I've never checked back because I remember her saying that he used drugs. And that makes more sense. It makes sense that he would be an enforcer. And a lot of, it makes a lot of sense. That makes sense a little bit, a lot, actually.
I hadn't known that word until I listened to Pavarotti.
There's so many things I've learned. I've learned so many new words, phrases, things I never needed to know. I mean, but these kids all know them. When my daughter said snitches get stitches, I thought, what happened? What happened to my little girl? Like, what? That's like Godfather stuff. That was very scary, very telling.
Yeah. And the harder part is that she's learned it for self-preservation,
Yes. She knows where not to go.
You raised a good kid. She knows she's got a good head on her shoulders.
She has a good head on her shoulders. She does. And she knew she didn't want to leave school, so we put eyes on her for the remainder of the school year. And my son came home at Christmas time and went to school globally, and then we transferred him to the East Coast.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm glad you're comfortable and you feel your kids are in a safe place, because, I appreciate your bravery and your courage and just saying something, because nobody is talking who has the ability to, and it's it's nice to hear you come out, and you're also backing up two younger people who came out, Dot and Dave. Their aliases, Dot and Dave, who don't really have anyone else to validate what they've come out and said. And so,
and I will tell you, Dave has no reason to lie. Caden Young was his best friend.
Who was his best friend?
Caden Young. They were in the same fraternity. Kaylee's brother was in their fraternity.
I just appreciate this because you're validating that phone call for me. I've featured it on my channel, and it has been one of the most popular videos. I use people want to know what Dave has to say, and just to hear that, as a creator, I get nervous putting something out that I can't confirm. But you're enough validation for me.
Well, thank you. You know, I'm glad that he came out because he heard me say something. It was the right thing to do. I think he's brave. I don't feel like I'm brave. I feel like I'm just a mom, and I'm doing the right thing. And I'd be what kind of a mother or person would I be if I didn't do the right thing? Brave is what these families are, having to keep their heads up and keep going and keep going. That is that's brave. Getting out of bed when you don't want to is brave because you have other children. That's hard work. It's just a little tiny paragraph and a warning and a reminder every day till this is solved. And I don't know if Bryan did it or not. I don't know that, but I know he wasn't alone, in my opinion. From everything I've heard, I feel very comfortable in saying that there was many people there.
Thank you for coming out with a bold, clear statement. Thank you, Kim. And oh gosh, I lost it was so bold, I lost my next question.
I've been doing that too.
You mentioned Pavarotti, okay? You said that you really like what Jay Embry is doing. It's resembling a lot of the things that you heard early on, and you find it reflective to what you initially were thinking. Can you name a couple other creators that you feel are doing a good job covering the case that we could go check out here on YouTube?
Differently, obviously Daniel. I think Daniel's got a different opinion that comes from Ellie, but I think he's got a really knowledgeable opinion. He can. I'll call him and ask him a question, and he can makes it make sense, right? And gives another side of it, so that we're not so focused on. So we can't just get so focused on either Ellie is bad or it's Kohberger. It's not resolved. This case is not solved yet. They're still working on it. The defense's investigator actually called me over the summer, and they're working on it diligently. So in order for us to protect all of our rights, we need to make sure he gets a fair trial. So I think balance is good. I think Lana is fantastic because her facts are good. I've not yet to see a fact that's not. She's got an approach that's a little, but that's her style. I think Dago offers a softer side and a place for people. Do you know who Dago, True Crime with Dago is? By chance?
Kiki, you're muted.
I
said yes. I love Diego. I've been on a panel with him before.
Oh, you have. So yeah, I love him. Who else would I if you want, I have a really hard time seeing. I'm audibly. I don't have I can't hear direction audibly for some reason. I just can't. So it's really hard for me to decipher. Today was the first time I actually ever was able to make out that statement how I heard it. And it's different than what Jeff said, but if you want visuals, Jeff or actually, and Stevie Irwin too is really great with the visuals. Really great. Honestly, he's so talented. But who else? I just found you guys, honestly. I mean, literally, today's the first. I listened to some of your videos yesterday, and then because I always listen first to see. Who else would I say? I would say Olivia, Chronicles of Olivia, because I'll tell you, she's young. She's she actually went to school with one of my nieces, and we didn't know that until much later, until after we'd met each other. Her mother is lovely. She is lovely. She's the real deal, and she's really bright, and she gets it out there, and people will open up to her, like Kaylee's family opening up to her. So I think she's a really good one too, and she's never given anything up. if I have something, so whenever I hear anything new, I send it to Olivia and tell her to send it to Steve if he wants it. I've never spoken with any of the families. I wouldn't do that. I just wouldn't. But if they wanted to ask me a question, which has happened before, I'll answer it through, and I just go through Olivia. And so I would definitely watch Chronicles of Olivia. J, uh, I think JLR. You know who actually? A.R. Hayes.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're big fans.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, if I were to say, he is just, isn't he really something else? He's a
Yeah.
really good guy. And he's got a lot of insight too, and real insight. Like kind of like Pavarotti, the same thing. They're kind of, they both have a lot of it right in different ways. I truly believe that Sigma Chi is involved in somehow with what happened to Ethan. That's just my theory and my feelings. They're just too concerned about shutting people up, and that makes me question everything they say. Because I would think I would want to be talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 8 feet too. I would definitely and the Venmos. I would look into the Venmos too. Who did the Venmos first? Bubbly Waters has some good information.
Okay, well, go look at Bubbly, because when you talk about the Venmos, are you talking about the Venmos to Ethan that night when he got the Venmo at 11:30?
Well, I'm more talking about the 3:31.
The one that
3:30 a.m.
Yeah.
3:30 a.m.
You're talking about, but
Right.
you've given me enough that I can feel comfortable talking about some of these subjects that I haven't been, and I appreciate that, Kim. There are a few things I've wanted to explore that I haven't before, and you're giving me a little leeway to do that. So thank you.
Well, good, because I think, I have to tell you, if I were to sit on the jury, which obviously I would not be allowed to, but I could go in there and not know. I mean, I don't know, right? You haven't proven he's guilty or innocent, and he's got to be innocent until you prove him guilty to me. So I don't know that there's anything. I have a fear that, and it's a big fear. Well, didn't they just have, Caden Young died right after. How many kids died after the first 4 between both campuses? Another 3 or 4 or 5?
Is this from overdose?
Well, it's either overdose or suicide. But now they're getting a little smarter, taking them over state lines. That whole thing with Caden Young does not wash. Harborview is the best trauma center in the country. Hands down, it is. So Caden was supposedly at the University of Washington, but I've heard different things since, at a fraternity partying over spring break. I don't know who goes to Seattle for spring break. That's boring. But so then he goes to Harborview and they release him. And now he's dead 4 hours later. Harborview does not release people to die. So, and who did they release him to? And why didn't they call his parents? That makes no sense.
I don't know anything about this. I mean, I've heard the name mainly from AR's channel, I think is where I heard it one time. But you're bringing up things I've never allowed myself to really explore. So
we're with him and sold him, and apparently there was fentanyl in it. And apparently somebody said revived him, but then and sent him to Harborview only for them to get arrested for it when he finally did die, because they set them up to bring back more. I don't know. And then the day they were supposed to go to trial in, I think it was May, they released them and said that it was, And they said it was a jurisdiction. So he died in Centralia. So somebody picks him up from Harborview. And my understanding was that could be wrong. Anything can be wrong. And then they bring him to Centralia, Washington, where he dies. That's where they're arrested. And then they said it was jurisdictional, so they sent him back to King County. Thank you. Keep him out of my county, please. And they sent him to King County, and then they never arrested him. And AR says he's down there. They're down there in where or somewhere down there in Reno or Vegas or somewhere. So it's beyond the pale. I just don't even understand how we're waiting for these two to go to prison. His rap sheet is insane. For this man to be walking the streets, and I use the term man very loosely. I don't dislike anybody. This guy, I tell you what, he's just a terrible human being. Yeah.
Where's she in custody right now, or is she...
No, she's out, and I think she's out and was not going to be recharged. And I believe I want to say they dropped her DUI, but I'm unsure. You know, the infamous DUI. Ugh, yuck. If that doesn't stop people from taking drugs, I don't know what will. Right? Gross.
Yeah.
So she is apparently down there too. I don't know. Her parents sold their house, is my understanding, which was behind 1122 King. You know, and the thing is, she had such a bright future, and she just got sucked down this bad place with this guy. It's terrible. Yeah, she's a beautiful girl. 22, she's obviously smart.
Turn it around. Maybe she can turn it around.
I hope she does. I do. I hope she does. I hope she knows that she's better than that, and everybody will welcome her to be a better person. She's got a huge life to live, and she wants to live it. Clearly, her parents care about her.
I have a really important question for you too. How's your daughter doing? This has probably been really traumatic for her. Is she doing well? She must have some PTSD from all of this. And
Nah, she doesn't. They don't. These kids don't. And I'll tell you what, they're sad. They feel very sad for these kids and what occurred, but they had such a way of stepping outside it. It was insane how well they all stepped outside of it. Even Jasmine went back to school over there. I mean, the triplets went back to school. The two surviving triplets went back to school. They all went back to school. It was like they couldn't be touched. And on the anniversary this year, my Pate had come in and I was crying, and she goes, "What's the matter?" And I'm like, "It's just a really sad day." And she said, "I know it's sad, Mom, but," and I said, "Well, what? It could have been you guys." And she said, "It couldn't have been me, Mom." And I said, "What does that even mean?" She goes, "It would never have been me or Will." So there's something that they're not saying.
Yeah.
Right? Which falls in line with the targeted. And she won't expound on it, and I'm not going to force her to. No. But she is not afraid all night long.
Is you listen to the scanners?
Yeah, I'm listening to the scanner. Yes, right. I listened to the scanner, and then and that helped. That worked while she was there.
Were you listening to the scanner for her area?
Yes. I did. So
I can see that.
I called the police department and I said, so they had a couple of incidents afterwards. All the kids did, like their door was spray painted with red spray paint. I don't know what it was. I don't even want to know what it was. But and then there was blood on her washing machine. Somebody said they were sharing a washing machine with somebody, but they were living on like what those kids lived in. A live out. They call them, a live out, a Greek live out. So I called the police department and I said, "Look, we have 3 months left together. Let's just get along. And you drive by my daughter's house. You know where she lives. You drive by my daughter's house several times a night and make sure she's okay." And so that night they drove by and to check out a white truck that was parked in front of it. But I knew that they were doing it. And so, I felt that I'm not going away. She's going to stay there.
They heard you. Yeah.
Yeah. Wazoo puts out great people. And so does U of I. And it's unfortunate that this has really taken so much away. And that we still have kids over there that we know from this area so there's still a worry, right? You don't want I don't want to hear anybody else get hurt. But so far this school year, I haven't heard of anybody else passing away, which is good. I mean,
Yeah, no, of course.
the assault one isn't so good, but hopefully they work that through. And maybe the not drinking on campus on Greek Row now that it's dry, that'll help. Maybe they are listening. Hopefully.
Yeah, and change takes place over time, right? So
Oh, we lost Kim.
we'll get there probably. Oh, what happened?
Oh, looks like Kim's.
He'll come back. But someone was asking what did Pavarotti say about Ethan specifically, and I don't remember what he did say exactly. Do you, Kiki?
No, that's why I pulled
Kind
it.
of like,
That's why I just
oh,
displayed it. I thought maybe Kim would answer what she was talking about. I hope she comes back. We have a few more questions. Kim, the one thing that we didn't get a chance to tell you, I'm hoping that you're watching right now, is, let me just take this comment down. The first thing we want to say is we appreciate that you gave us a chance and came up on panel and talked to us. You answered some really tough questions. You went out on a limb and you said your truth and you did not sugarcoat it. You spoke clearly, and I appreciate you giving my channel a chance to interview you. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me and Gia a chance to have you come up.
Absolutely. Yep. And anytime, and I know you work with a lot of great creators, and they're all people that we love and we follow and we trust, and we really appreciate your giving them kudos and letting us know who it is you trust, and just really kind of validates all of the people that we're listening to and makes you feel better knowing that what they're saying is ringing of the truth.
Absolutely. You couldn't have said it better. And we want you to know that our thoughts and our prayers are with you and your daughter, your family. And thank you for sharing a little bit about yourself. And we're just praying for you. We're praying for your community and for healing in general for your children and their friends. So
thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining us, Gia. And have a great day. We'll see you guys tomorrow.